Okay, Wildcat. Today we're looking at Wednesday, October 31st, factoring polynomials on page 28. If you would, update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at our notes. And I think that page number is wrong, so let's fix that. It's not page 31, it's page 28. All right, factoring polynomials. Factoring polynomial steps. Step 1, find the greatest common factor, GCF. If you have a trinomial, ax squared plus bx plus c, then factor if possible. Step 2, factor ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is where we use the reverse box method, first term, last term, and we're going to get into how to complete this into our examples. Okay, so if you would, finish up your notes. All right, now your notes are updated. Let's take a look at our examples. And again, that's on page 28. All right, so factor polynomials. So first things first is we factor out the greatest common factor. So in this case, it looks like 6 and 15 are divisible by 3, so we can factor out a 3. We can also, this has an x squared and this has an x, so we can factor out an x. So our greatest common factor is 3x. That leaves 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared, so that leaves 2x. Minus 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x, so that is its factored form. All right, example 2. Now that's really if there's just 2 terms, but when it's 3 terms, we use the reverse box method. So we draw a box. First term, I'm going to put a 1 in front of the x squared, so 1x squared, and then the last term. Now, this is one of the most important steps, and you do not want to skip the step, and you want to make sure you list all the factors. We want to find all the factors that multiply to give you 6. And you start with 1. 1 times 6 equals 6. 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 times 2 equals 6. Okay. Now, you want to look at the combined because you want to, the middle term needs to equal negative 5x. Okay. So, which causes a problem with we can't have positive numbers and then middle negative numbers. So we need to change this to negative 1, negative 6, which is still positive 6, negative 2 times negative 3, which is positive 6, and negative 3 times negative 2. Okay, so now they need to combine to be negative 5. So negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7. That doesn't work. Negative 2 minus 3 is a negative 5. That works. So our combination is negative 2 and negative 3. Okay, now going back to here, to make x squared, it's 1x and 1x. And we know that now it's minus 2 and minus 3. Okay, and you want to go through and make sure that this is correct. 1x times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 minus 2x is a negative 5x. This works. So the factored form of 1x squared minus 5x plus 6 is 1x minus 2 times 1x minus 3. Okay, so now let's look at example 3. Now, when factoring, you never want the first term to be negative. So in this case, example 3, we need to factor out the negative 1, which leaves 1x squared minus 3x minus 4. Now, when we get the final answer, we have to remember that we need to multiply it by negative 1. But now we draw a box. First term is 1x squared. Last term is negative 4. Now, this part is easy. This part's going to be 1x, 1x. Now, we need to multiply to get negative 4 and combine to be 3x. So we multiply first. Now, because the last number is negative, one of the numbers has to be positive, one has to be negative. So 1 times -4 is -4. 2 times -2 is -4. 3 doesn't work. 4 times -1 is -4. Now we need to combine to see if we get 3x. So 1 minus 4 is -3. That doesn't work. 2 minus 2 equals 0. That doesn't work. 4 minus 1 is 3. So our factors are 4, -1. So that's x plus 4, x minus 1. So then that's 1x times 4 is 4x. -1 times 1 is -1x. These combine to be 3x. So now we know it's factored as -1 parentheses 1x plus 4 times 1x minus 1. Okay, so now let's take a look at example 4. Now, example 4 gets more complicated when the a value is other than 1. Okay, but we still start the same way. We draw a box. First term, last term. Now, here we had before 1x, 1x, but now it's going to be 2x and 1x make 2x squared. Middle term, we want to be 7x. So now we still multiply. We need to multiply to find 3. So 1 times 3 equals 3. 2 doesn't work. 3 times 1 equals 3. Now, where this gets complicated is that before we were multiplying by 1, so it didn't matter. But now we have to multiply 2 times 1 and 1 times 3 and 2 times 3 and 1 times 1 to see to get 7. So then this is 2 times 1 plus 1 times 3. And in that case, that equals 5, so that doesn't work. Now we do 2 times 3 plus 1 times 1. That's 6 plus 1 is 7. So this combination works, 3 and 1. But also, 2 has to be multiplied by 3. So the 3 has to go here because you're multiplying by 2. And the 1 has to go here because that's going to be multiplied by the 1. So 2x times 3 is 6x. 1 times 1 is 1x. 1x plus 6x is 7x. So the factored form is 1x plus 3 times 2x plus 1. All right, let's take a look at example 5. Now going back to the easier ones, a is 1, so it makes it easier. We draw a box. So first term and second term. Or last term, sorry, not second term. All right. Now we know 1x and 1x make 1x squared. Now this part that I'm doing right here is the part that students don't do, and this is the most important part. You need to find all the combinations to make 25 and 10x. So this is the most important part to factor efficiently and learn how to do it, okay? So to find 25, 1 times 25 is 25. 2 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 5 times 5 gives you 25. So those are our only combinations. Okay, now we combine. So 1 plus 25 is 26. That doesn't work. 5 plus 5 is 10. That works. So our combination is x plus 5, x plus 5. Let's check. 1x times 5 is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5x. 5x plus 5x is 10x. So the factored form is 1x plus 5, 1x plus 5. All right, example 6. Now, there's no middle term, so we want to write that as 9x squared plus 0x minus 4. Okay, we want to have the x. We're going to put a 0 there. So then you draw your box. Now, to make 9x squared, we're going to first try 3x and 3x. If that doesn't work, then we have to do 9x and 1x. Okay? but let's see if 3x and 3x works. So first term is 9x squared. Last term is negative 4. So first, to find negative 4, we know the only combinations are 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Now, we want our middle term to be 0x. And we have to multiply by 3 and 3. So 3 times 1 plus 3 times negative 4 gives us, that's negative 12 plus 3 is a negative 9. That doesn't work. Now 3 times 2 plus 3 times negative 2 is 6 minus 6, which is 0. So our combination is 2 and 2. So plus 2 minus 2. So then that's 6x, negative 6x. They combine to be 0x. So our factored form is 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. All right, example 7. Now, if you can, you want to factor out the greatest common factor. In this case, it looks like all these numbers are divisible by 2. And in fact, actually, I think we can go a little higher. I think we can go in 4. So let's factor out a 4. So that leaves at 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. And we just have to remember to put the 4 back in the final factored answer. So we draw a box. So first term is 3x squared. Last term is negative 2. Let's unblur this a little bit. All right. Now, to make 3x squared, the only combination to make that is 3x and 1x. And we want our middle term to be 5x. Now, the only combinations to make negative 2 are 1 times negative 2, which is negative 2, and 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. But we have to remember to multiply. So we have to multiply the 3 times a 1, the 1 times a negative 2, 3 times a 2, and the 1 times negative 1. So 3 times 1 plus 1 times negative 2 equals, see, 3, that's 1, that doesn't work. And then we do 3 times 2 plus 1 times negative 2 is, see, oh, wait a second, that's not negative 2, that's supposed to be, these should be, no, this is a negative 2, I'm sorry, that's a negative 2, that's correct. But this should be a negative 1. So 3 times 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5. So this combination works, but the 3 has to be multiplied by the 2, and the 1 has to be multiplied by the negative 1. Okay, so let's check it works. 3x times 2 is 6x. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1x. Negative 1x plus 6x is 5x. So the factored form, don't forget about the 4, is 4 times 1x plus 2 times 3x minus 1. All right, last example, example 8. Okay, now there's no middle term, but before we put the 0x, let's factor out, this looks like this is factored by 5. So I think that's the highest number. So we can factor out a 5. That leaves 5x squared. And let's go ahead and put the 0x. Minus 5 goes into 45. How many times? I believe minus 9. All right. So now we draw our box. Now 5x squared and negative 9. So the only combination is 5x and 1x. So then we need -9. So 1 times -9 is -9. 2 doesn't work. 3 times -3 is -9. 4 doesn't work. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 times -1 is -9. So now we need to multiply 5 times 1, 1 times -9, and so on. So 5 times 1 plus 1 times -9, and we're trying to get 0x. So that's equal to -4. That doesn't work. 5 times 3 plus 1 times -3 is 15 minus 3 is 12. 5 times 9 plus 1 times -1 is 44. That doesn't work. We've gone through all the combinations. So we would say that this is not factorable. So the only thing you could do in this case is factor out the 5 and have 5x squared minus 9. Okay, so with that, if you understood the examples, start working on an assignment. If not, you can work with me in the teacher-led station. So with that, have a wonderful Wildcat